We've learned what Ronna McDaniel was doing with a lot of that RNC money. Apparently, $1.5 million on floral arrangements. Well, that'll win you an election. LIMOS, management and media consultants, and a whole lot more. When last we checked in with Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the RNC, we were interviewing her after the debate down in Miami when she conceded that she and the RNC had absolutely no involvement in the Virginia elections this last November. She claimed that the governor of Virginia told her that he didn't want any of that dirty RNC money to win any elections, which still hasn't been confirmed by anybody. It seems odd that the RNC wouldn't be involved in an election. Last I checked, that's sort of what they're supposed to be doing. But now, thanks to some amazing reporting from managing editor of redstate.com, Jen Van Laar, we've learned what Ronna McDaniel was doing with a lot of that RNC money. Apparently, $1.5 million on floral arrangements. Well, that'll win you an election. LIMOS, management and media consultants, and a whole lot more. Joining us now is the aforementioned Jennifer Van Laar. She, of course, as I mentioned, the managing editor of Red State, part of our Town Hall Media family. And Jen, first of all, great reporting, great research. How long did it take you to go through all of these records to come up with this story?
Well, I don't even want to count up the exact number of hours because it would probably make me very sad. But at least 120. I mean, the last few weeks, last week in particular, about 18-hour days. I started looking at the end of November when the RNC money problems were kind of first being publicized and thought, okay, well, let's check in, because I did a report a year ago and I thought things would have changed. I honestly started looking at it thinking, okay, I'm not going to find the same stuff I found last year. And then I did.
Right. In fact, let's remind everybody that your reporting on the expenditures at the RNC last year actually led to the existential crisis that Ronna McDaniel had. She almost lost re-election to the chairmanship because of that reporting and because it was such a groundswell. The problem is, of course, the people who vote for RNC chair, it's a very small number of people, and many of them are in their position because Ronna McDaniel put them in their position. So it was sort of baked in the cake that she was going to win re-election. But you ruffled a lot of feathers with that one. How's the feedback been so far on this one?
More of the same. What happens is that the Ronna and her spokespeople end up sending out emails to the 168 just saying that I'm a dishonest reporter and that I got my numbers wrong. I mean, the numbers come from the FEC. They can look at them too. If they actually read my report, every time that I say they paid this for this, I link to the FEC report that's all lined up for those search things so that they can look right at it themselves. I'm not asking anyone to take my word for it. And I hope that they will look at this because I'm not going to say anyone's lying to them, but I'm saying that people have vested interests in keeping things the way that they are and don't want people to do their own research.
Right. Well, the important thing is, yes, you've got screenshots of all these expenditures. This is all public filings. Any reporter, if they wanted to put the time and energy into it, could have done this. You did it, Jen, for us, and we appreciate it. Everyone should go to redstate.com, look at this information for themselves. Let's go back to something you just mentioned here. The RNC is facing financial woes. This is actually the first time in about 12 years, I think, when the RNC has had some cash problems. They were in a pretty good financial position for a while there. And I saw headlines that they were looking for some credit lines and they were about to go in the hole, right?
Right.
So, I mean, they've got financial problems and they're spending money on what now? What did you discover?
Well, on the management consulting, which that's different than there's other types of consulting that I think are legitimate and needed, like data consulting, strategy consulting, maybe logistics consulting, things like that. You want to get people who are experts in their field to give you the skinny on that stuff. But with that line of credit, something I found out here in Vegas, I'm here covering this winter meeting, is that they're not getting this line of credit through a normal kind of loan. They're collateralizing their donor list and saying that it's worth, they told the members on Thursday, today's Thursday, on Wednesday, that it was worth $100 million and that they're taking out a $10 million line of credit against it. So to me, that says, I mean, in 2016, they had a credit line that they used at the beginning of the cycle to invest in some infrastructure, then paid it off. That was through BB&T, which is now Truist. that's a standard thing. Given what interest rates are today for just normal things, this sounds like a little bit of a riskier loan that would probably have even higher interest rates.
Yeah,
None of that has been all explained. And if you're paying a bunch of money on interest back, that goes against what we can use in elections. So what's the point?
right. Well, it sounds like they're really. That sounds like how the federal government operates. Actually,
Right.
if you think about it,
And we're
um,
starting fiscal responsibility.
for 13 months, the RNC spent an average of $83,000 a month on management consulting. First of all, do we have a definition of what that means, management consulting? Because I thought when you hire a chairwoman of the RNC and you've got an infrastructure of people you hired as managers, that they're the ones who were doing that job. Why do you need to then get an outside firm to tell you how to manage?
Exactly. And at least 165,000 of that was like the coaching kind of things where they come in the office and do the seminars and teach you how to have positive workplace environment and that
Oh,
kind of thing.
stop. Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh,
And then they're saying that 200,000 of it was actually data consulting, but why didn't they then categorize it as data consulting?
right.
So that's kind of odd. And another person that got paid almost $300,000 who used to work for RNC, they're saying that this
Reince
guy,
Priebus, previous chairman of the
yes,
RNC.
they're saying that this guy is, well, he's helping set up the RNC convention and the debates and things. But here's the problem. They have a man who's Ronna's senior advisor making over $300,000 a year. And in a Politico report, it says that his main duties are going to be working on the convention and the debates. Then they have a convention CEO who's making about $250,000. So what are we? We're working on $750,000 or more for people to look over debates and the convention,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
That
that doesn't
doesn't
make a whole
make
lot of
any
sense at
sense.
all. It sounds like a lot of redundancy there. Is that this BMO consulting that you're referring to
No,
here?
that's different.
Okay,
That
so who's
guy,
Benjamin Ottenhoff and why does he get tens of thousands of dollars a month?
he got $97,500 in that 13-month period. He's the treasurer of WinRed, which is the payment processor for all the donations.
Ah,
And in my estimation, that's a little bit of a conflict of interest if you're uh, telling this organization, management consulting, and one of their main contracts is with the company that you helped found and you're the treasurer of.
there's also a really weird line item here. I know that we're getting into the minutia here, but let's face it, if the RNC, they're asking for us to donate to them because that way they're going to paint the country red and they're already in debt. And then it's worthwhile for us potential donors to actually say, okay, how are you currently spending your money? So let's talk about office supplies.
Right.
Stay with us here, guys, because there's something happening here that's a lot less mundane than office supplies. This seems like an extraordinary number. What are they doing with their office supply budget?
I don't know. I mean, there could be that things that are miscategorized because the industry standard for the number of employees they have would be about $86,000 for that 13 and a half month. I gave them a half month in there too,
Mm-hmm.
time period. And they spent almost $300,000. And
$300,000 on office supplies for a
right.
business that has about 200 employees.
And 60,000 of that went basically to break room supplies.
Well, I mean, listen, in DC, that might mean bottles of vodka and tequila. I'm not going to hold it against them. Seriously, this
Right.
is
I wouldn't
Washington.
either.
All right, good to know. What else stuck out to you? The media consultant number I find remarkable, considering I didn't see the RNC doing anything with the media.
Yeah, well, the woman that got the bulk of that, 97, I think, $1,000, she had been a media person at the RNC for about 75 grand a year. And then within just since April of this year is when she started that contract over close to $100,000 to book them. And it's crazy.
It is insane. You also make the point in your article, and I want to remind everybody again, go to redstate.com, read this for yourself, check out all the links. Everything is sourced. Everything is, you've got screenshots of all of the financials. You made the point here that back in 2010, then chairman of the RNC, Michael Steele, everyone knows him now as a big star on MSNBC. That's a whole other story. But he basically lost his job because of misspending, because of the exact same questions that you're highlighting right here.
Yeah. And they said that Karl Rove would go through the office, and if there were flowers on the tables or at different meetings, he would just have a fit. And now we're spending all this money. It's not just the 70,000 within a fundraising line item for the event production. There's another $45,000 in flowers. So they can't just say, "Oh, those were for events." Like at the fundraising events, there was another 45,000. And then it was just funny things in the office supplies. Like there was this one line item Furbish Studio. So I look up all these things. I looked up what the company website, that kind of thing. And it's these custom needlepoint pillows that are about $100 each. And I don't begrudge someone having nice things in their office. You spend a lot of time there. You want it to look nice. But Larry, I've been in the town hall offices with you. Like if we have things in our office, it's things that we bought ourselves.
Yeah.
And, so if you want to bring in fancy candles and embroidered pillows, great. You just don't build a company for it. But what I found hilarious was one of the pillows had the saying, "I can buy myself flowers" on it. And I thought, oh, is that the one that Ronna has in her office? Because that would fit.
That's ironic, especially if you're billing back all those flowers to the RNC. Listen, we Americans are asked, especially we Republicans, we're asked to donate to win these elections. We're asked to be involved. We're asked to get in there and actually make a difference. And it's kind of hard to get motivated to do that when you see the money that we're giving to the Republican National Committee is treated this way. Is she gonna have to answer to this? Have they given any, other than sliming you, has there been any legitimate response?
No, there's not been a legitimate response. I'm told that at the members meeting yesterday, she completely went off on me and Charlie Kirk and slamming my reporting and just saying that somehow that we hate the RNC or just have a vendetta against Ronna. And that's not true. Why I started looking at this is because I'm a Republican Party delegate, official delegate in California. I've worked on grassroots things. I know you have, Larry, and I know the financial challenges that grassroots face. And I want to look at it, make sure that our money's going somewhere that it should go and provide accountability. If it wasn't for my reporting, no one would be looking at this. No one would be giving her junk about it. Yep. And some RNC members have told me that my reporting has given them more information on where the money is going than what they've been told by headquarters.
Well, I believe that, but at the same time, I kind of blame them because they should be demanding these answers. They have their own responsibility as voting members of the committee, and something's got to change here. This isn't how the RNC was run like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. That was back when we actually motivated and created an entity under Reince Priebus, who I think did a pretty good job as chairman of the RNC. I agree. And his right-hand man, Sean Spicer, and they created an entity that actually built the infrastructure that allowed for a lot of electoral victories, including President Trump's win in 2016. Since then, boy, what a difference 8 years makes. Jennifer Van Laar, thank you for joining us on this. Thanks for giving us all the details. Thanks for the great reporting. And, keep your head on a swivel because they're coming after you for this kind of thing.
For sure. Thank you.
You're probably used to that by now, too.